Hello, this is Andrine, a Jewish American priestess, and we are now in the month of Tevet in the year 2025. And I'm coming to you today with a reading based on the full moon that's coming in this week. It's sometimes known as the wolf moon. And to that end, we have wolf cards. This is my one of my ancestor cards that I have on my altar of the white wolf. And we'll set her up here to sit guardian over the reading. And then we have 4 different cards that we're going to talk about today. You can choose which one is drawing you in to your individual readings. But the reason why we're doing wolf, because the wolf moon, but this transition into the new year has been challenging already. There's been a lot of disasters that have already occurred, human-made disasters. And we have to consider what it is that wolf is teaching us right now. The wolf is a predator, and it is an animal that will winnow a herd of prey animals, say caribou or some kind of deer, even flock animals that are either small or weak or ill. And they're often vilified for that purpose. But the wolf is doing what it's supposed to do, to take the weak or the elderly or the ill from the herd in order to transform those weak or ill parts into its own body, to build muscle and bone, and to release what is no longer useful. And that, in its way, will then strengthen the herd in turn, so that it will grow stronger and more robust. So the questions we're asking today is, what is it that's not serving us? What is it that's keeping us ill or weak or small? And what is it that we are done with and need to let go of? And how then can we transform that? How can we take that into our own bodies, into our own selves, and find a way to nourish ourselves with the healthy parts of that and release again and excrete what is no longer serving us. So in order to do that, we're going to use these 4 wolf cards, and I'll put the timestamps down below so that you can find your reading. You can watch more than one, of course, as you desire. But the 4 decks we have today are the medicine cards with this wolf. Card number 2 is the Spirit Animal Guide with this wolf. We have the Wildwood Tarot with this wolf. And we have the White Light Oracle with this wolf. So take a moment to determine which of these 4 wolves has got a message for you today. And again, you can choose more than one if you like. And we'll do a reading at the timestamps down below. And we'll find out what it is we're releasing and what it is we're transforming and how we're transforming that. I will see you in your separate readings. Hello, wolf card number 1. We're looking today at the wolf card that comes from the medicine card deck. And this wolf is numbered 15 in this deck, howling at the full moon like they do on this medicine shield. And I'll read a little bit in the book about wolf from this deck. Wolf is known as teacher. Wolf is the pathfinder, the forerunner of new ideas who returns to the clan to teach and share medicine. Wolf takes one mate for life and is loyal like dog. And if you were to keep company with the wolves, you would find an enormous sense of family within the pack, as well as a strong individualistic urge. These qualities make wolf very much like the human race. As humans, we also have an ability to be part of society and yet still embody our individual dreams and ideas. So wolf as teacher here, going out, blazing a trail, finding the path, and then returning to the clan, to the pack, to teach what they have learned. And so maybe it's time for you to either find a teacher or to be a teacher. So let's do some readings today. We're going to do Hebrunes for sure, and I think maybe some Nordic runes as well to get clarity. But I'm going to start with the Hebrunes. And the way I'm going to do this is shuffle this up, and the first question we're going to ask is, what is it that's been ill? What is it that's not been serving us and is ready to transform in this new year, this new month, and in this full moon coming in the middle of the month? And let's pull out 3 letters to start. Okay. We'll set them here on the right. We have Ein, we have Mem, and we have Tet. Okay. Let me scooch this in a little bit so you can see better. Ein, Mem, and Tet. Now, Ein is the letter that's actually affiliated with the month of Tevet, and it is the letter that means an eye, and it's about being watched over and also being able to see our way forward. And to that end, I'm thinking the wolf is watching. The wolf is watching over the community and the tribe and the herd as well of whatever pack is being hunted. And it's got a keen sense of vision as well as smell, of course. And so the Ein is here saying there's something that we need to keep an eye on. There's something that we need to be able to see in order to move forward. And maybe we haven't been able to see it yet. Ein is the number 70 in Gematria, which is the number 7 representing the days of creation times 10. So the 7 days of creation represent an ending or completion of something. And that times 10 is an ultimate manifestation of that completion. So something is coming to an end. Something that has not served us. Maybe something that hasn't been healthy. And it's time to let that go and be able to see that, be able to look at that with our eyes and recognize what it is that isn't serving us, that we have to have appropriate judgment around this. Ein is also affiliated with the tribe of Dan, which means judgment. So we have to make some kind of judgment call about which of these things are we releasing, what is coming to an end, what exactly do we need to let go of. And then we have the letter Mem. Mem is the mother letter of water. And water, of course, is one of the major elements that we are made up mostly of water. It's about emotion and heart and transformation through water. So letting things flow, maybe cleansing with a mikvah, some kind of cleansing bath. And Mem is also the letter that is affiliated with the womb space. And gestation, it's the number 40 in Gematria, so it has that sense of 40 weeks of gestation in the human body and the 40 years of wandering in the wilderness. And we've been wandering and we've been gestating for these very long periods of time. And it's time to let that go. Mem is affiliated with the winter in the year, so also really up right now, like the Ein as being affiliated specifically with the month of Tevet, and Mem being affiliated with the winter and this time of year, and that gestation, and that water, and finding water in the desert, the waters of life, the Mayim Chaim, that keep us alive. So what we're letting go of is this thing that's coming to an end, and the winter's just beginning, so it's not like that's coming to an end, but maybe that waiting, that gestation that we've been waiting for is coming to an end. We've been gestating something for a very, very long period of time. The wolf is here to teach us that it's time to give birth, to let go of whatever it is that we are done creating. We have worked very hard to create something like the days of creation, and now it's time we can be able to see that we're letting that go and giving birth to the thing. The Mem is affiliated with the Moon Mother, the High Priestess, in the tarot, in the readings that I've done with the tarot and the Hebrunes. So, of course, the wolf is the one who howls toward the moon as well. So we've got this moon goddess here about receptivity and maybe a little bit of mystery. And we've got to let go of that in order to give birth. We can't stay pregnant forever. We can't stay in that state of gestation forever. It is time to let go of holding on to our ideas so tightly that we become addicted to the ideas rather than actually giving birth to the creation that comes through birthing out an idea. And we have the letter Tet, and Tet is also the other gestation letter. It's the letter that is the number 9, so it's a vessel, it's a cup, and it's the first letter of the word Tov, which means good. So having a container with something good within, and that 9 being the 9 months of gestation. So we've got the 40 weeks of gestation and the 9 months of gestation. So double messages here that it's time to finish gestating, to let go of that which we have been gestating. It's also the letter that is affiliated with the snake. So it looks a little bit like a snake curling around on itself into a basket or some kind of container. And that snake is an ancient symbol of the goddess and about transformation through shedding the skin. And when we give birth, in some ways, that is a shedding of the skin. The baby sheds the skin of the mother and becomes a new creature out into the world, letting go of the old and creating something new. Tet is the letter that is affiliated with the month of Av in the summer, so it's the opposite side of the calendar. And I see it as corresponding to the Empress, with that idea of fertility and fecundity in the Empress card, which is the Great Mother. So we've got 2 great mothers here as well, giving birth. And that being able to see and watch over everything as it comes to an end, coming into some kind of judgment as we finish up. So our wolf teacher here is saying it's time to see that the gestation is coming to an end. It's time to stop holding on, crossing your legs and not wanting to give birth. It's time to release the thing that you've been gestating for so long and allow it to transform. Allow it to transform and come into the world. I want to see what it is that we're transforming into, and also how that transformation is going to happen. So I think it would be good to pull out some more Hebrunes to give us a sense of what is the transformation. How will the transformation look? We're going to do one letter right in the center of the wolf card to give us a sense of how that transformation, that key point of coming from the past before we move into the future. And I'm going to take one letter that will give us some idea about the transformation itself and how we can assist with, or at least allow, that transformation to take place. I'm going to pull out one letter, and we have the letter Nun. Interesting. Nun is the letter that tends to mean humility. It's somebody who's kneeling down and bent over with their head bowed. It's the first letter of the word Ne'aman. And so finding our place in humility, maybe at the foot of a teacher, that's giving us the ability to see our way forward and to release this gestation. But we do need to come into our sense of humility, and not humiliation, but humility that will give us an ability to release that which we've been holding on to so tightly. Nun is also the letter that's affiliated with the word nes, meaning miracle. So some kind of miracle will take place that will give us the ability to transform into the next thing. It's the foundation of locomotion in the Sefer Yetzirah, the book of creation. So there's this sense of starting out slowly and picking up speed as we get along, so that there's more and more ability to locomote forward rather than just sprinting off and getting exhausted, but starting slowly and picking up speed. And I affiliate the Nun with the Hermit card in Tarot, so spending time in contemplation is going to be one of the ways that will help us to be able to see our way forward and give birth, to release those gestation letters, to transform the way we need to transform is sitting in contemplation and humility to allow the miracle to occur. I'm going to pull out one Nordic rune to give us another little bit of clarity about how we might transform right now. And our transformation is Berkana reversed. Now, Berkana is the birch tree. It usually looks like this, upright, looks a little bit like a bee. Berkana reversed is an inner birth. It's finding something new, but it being reversed, it means internally. We're finding the newness within ourselves. And that's interesting because we have this sense of birth here in both of these letters with the mem and the tet. So we're sitting in humility, allowing for something to transform inside of us. It's not an external transformation, it's an internal transformation with this newness coming in. Berkana can also have something to do with families of origin. But again, reversed, it seems to me that it's more likely this sense of an internal newness, that we're finding something that we may not transform so much externally, but that something inside will be born out of us as we sit in our contemplation, to allow that transformation to occur on the inside rather than on the outside. And that's interesting because with the wolf, a lot of times they will devour something that, again, is weak or ill, and that transformation occurs inside the wolf. So the wolf it may appear that that thing is disappearing and being killed or dismembered, but the wolf takes that being into its body, and it transforms it into proteins that will help the wolf itself to grow. And it's hard to see that happening. All we see is what's happening on the outside. But this internal growth and birth and newness is happening within. So that's what we're seeing here as well in terms of the transformation. We need to remain humble if we are releasing these things that we've been holding on to so tightly, and then the transformation takes place within. And I'm going to pull out 3 more Nordic runes on the left side to show what's coming once that transformation occurs. Once we get past that part of internal transformation and humility. And we'll pull out 3 more. We've got Kanas, we have Fehu, and we have Rhytho. Okay. So Kanas is the letter that is about a torch. So it starts with a small ember and it expands wide into a blazing flame or a torch. So the transformation that is occurring will start out as something seemingly small. And like I said, the Berkana is saying that that transformation is going to occur within. So it may not be apparent right away. But there's this room for enormous growth, that things will become illuminated over time as we see this transformation occurring inside. It will become apparent outside as the light brightens over time. It will take some time. The center letter we have here is Fehu. Fehu is about wealth and worth. And it's not money exactly. It's the thing that we tend. It's cattle. So it's interesting that we have this wolf that is possibly preying on a herd of cattle, let's say. But if we're tending the cattle, losing the weak and the ill and those that are no longer strengthening the herd will in turn strengthen it in the big picture. Although it's very sad to lose something that is part of our herd, the thing that we've been tending, we can continue to tend those that are continue to be strong. So there is something here that's saying that our wealth and worth will expand with the kanas as after this transformation has taken place, because we can't continue to grow something strong if we have weak and ill members of that herd, whatever it is we're tending. And it might be something that is, again, internal, an idea or something that you are tending. Whatever it is that you tend that gives you a sense of self-worth is going to need to transform in order to grow stronger. But I do see it growing stronger, and you'll be able to tend it better without the thing that was bogging it down. And that will turn into Raidho, which is the journey rune. It's about riding forward. And it's the rune that says it's time to move on ahead. We've been sitting here stagnating for some time, and now it's time to drive forward. I think about Raidho as being affiliated with like the tarot card of the Chariot, say moving forward in that sort of way, riding ahead. So these are the messages that are coming in here, is that we're coming to the end of something quite large. It's a gestation that's been going on for some time, that this transformation has taken a lot of emotion, a lot of energy, and maybe has been, weighty, a heavy belly in terms of the high priestess carrying this unknown or mysterious gestation. That there's a transformation that is taking place in form of the Empress giving birth, finally, after waiting 9 long months. And that transformation is going to occur through humility and a miracle that will occur. Both things can be true, that you're spending time in contemplation and humility, and that allows for the miracle to be visible. And the transformation is happening inside as well. That this humility may be the thing that allows you to transform inside, and in such a way that it's not so externally visible to everyone else, but you'll know. Then that small change that's happening inside you will expand like a torch lighting up. And you'll be able to tend better your herd of cattle, whatever that looks like to you, whether it's a job or money or family or home, whatever it is that gives you self-worth. If it's a project that you're working on, again, getting ready to birth it, will give you a chance to tend it better. And that will give you a sense of worth and wealth in richness in your life. And then you'll be able to set forth and ride forward with Raido on your journey to the next best thing that's coming along in your life. And so that's our message for today for those of you who chose the Wolf card from the medicine deck. I hope this has been interesting and helpful for you. If it has, please like and subscribe, and I'll look forward to seeing you in our next reading. Hello, those of you who chose the Wolf card from the Animal Spirit Guide. This is what your wolf looks like. It's an earth element. I love that it has these sort of almost fiery colors behind it on the card. I'm going to read a little bit from the guidebook about this particular wolf. It says it's guardian of family and tribe, activism and ritual. The wolf's mission is to uphold the well-being and longevity of the pack. Healthy wolf energy expresses itself through activism, mentorship, humanitarian effort, and teaching, either religious or political studies. The wolf gets in trouble when it assumes every member of the tribe must follow suit, and this includes children walking in their parents' footsteps. Although it will surely be uncomfortable at first, practicing tolerance helps balance out agitated wolf energy. Contemplate the following: embrace all, exclude none. So when the wolf is in balance, they are reliable, democratic, and fearless. And when they're out of balance, they can be judgmental and dominating. So it's important to practice letting go, which is a wonderful message for today regarding the wolf, because we're talking about how we need to release some things in order for new things to grow. And the wolf's job is to winnow out the ill or the unhealthy in our lives, in a herd of animals that they are tending. So let's see what the wolf has to say to us with regards to what we're releasing right now. What is the thing that we're letting go of and allowing to transform in our lives? I'm going to pull out some Hebrunes, and then we'll pull out some Nordic runes as well. Let's do 3. Okay, we have Kaf, Kuf, and Shin. Kaf, Kuf, and Shin. Okay, so these are the things that we are working on releasing right now. Now, Kaf is the letter that represents the palm of a hand, so giving and receiving. And it's possible that the Kaf is here saying that we have been overextending ourselves, that we have been a little too generous, maybe, overgiving and not really taking care of our own. That, the wolf is here to remind us that, yes, we have to share with our tribe, but we can't share with the tribe so much that it's a detriment to ourselves. So it's about the transformation between wealth and poverty. And I think the wolf is here to tell us that we don't want to give so much that we become impoverished. It's important to have the power, the koach that we have in order to give and receive, but not overextend so much that we are feeling oppressed or we're feeling like we are being pushed down by somebody's palm of the hand. The kaf also represents the sun in the sky. So we're at this time of year where the sun is up for a very short period of time. It's just returned from its solstice journey kind of into the underworld. So it's coming back. But we have to understand that the sun goes and the sun returns, and that we don't get to have control over that. The important thing is to give what we need to give and take what we need to take, and find the balance there. The next letter is the Kuf, and the Kuf is the letter that means sacred, kadosh, or kodesh, and it means that which is designated for service to the divine. And it's often translated as holy, but I think it's more about being having something that's special, that's designation for divinity. Like if you have a vessel that is used for just regular drinking at the table, it wouldn't necessarily be kadosh. But if you decide this vessel we're only going to use on Shabbat, or that it's only going to be used to hold some kind of special sacred libation that is being poured out for ritual or sacrifice, that would make it kadosh. So what is the Kuf saying here about what we're releasing? It's about transforming. It's this magical property of taking something that is plain and transforming, elevating it up to a level of sacredness. We can take basically any kind of vessel and say it is dedicated toward service to divinity. So our transformation and our releasing is releasing those things that are mundane and elevating ourselves to the level of sacredness. We have spent too much time debasing ourselves and feeling less than, and it's important to elevate ourselves now into a level of sacredness. The Kuf also is the first letter of the word Kof, which means monkey, which sometimes connotes having this monkey mind or this monkey business, not being able to focus on what is sacred. But I think that's the transformation, is releasing that sort of animalistic nature that doesn't give us the chance to connect with divinity. Although animals in their way connect with divinity all the time. So our struggle here, our challenge is, how do we transform? How do we transmute that which is mundane into it being a sacred act? And there's my random chime saying, yes, it's time to do some transformation. And we can do that within ourselves. That there's nothing external that really needs to happen except for changing our attitude about how we deal with the thing. And our third letter here is the letter Shin, and Shin is the mother letter of fire. And I love that it's here with this card with the wolf, which looks like it has fire coming up behind us, because there's so much fire happening right now in the world. And this fire letter is here that saying it's time to burn down that which hasn't been working for us. That it is about calling on the presence of the divine within us, the Shekhinah, which begins with the letter Shin, and transforming. Tshuva, that's about return, and Shalom, which is about wholeness and peace, and change, which is the word Shini, also beginning with the Shin. So we have this ability to transform things through fire. And it can seem really destructive, and it can seem really harsh, but sometimes that's the only way to transform. And I see this is corresponding to the sun card in tarot, and we've got the sun up here with the Kaf as well. So something here is saying there's a transformation, a change of overextending ourselves, a change of accepting ourselves as just being mundane, and recognizing that we are indeed holy, that we are indeed sacred, and that what we do is sacred regardless of how mundane it seems, and that transformation through fire, which is calling on that eternal spark, the internal spark of the Shekhinah, the indwelling presence of the divine, as well as Shini, that change, Shuvah, return to ourself, and Shalom, returning to wholeness. So that's our transformation, is what we're releasing is that overextending and the mundane, and we're doing it in some ways through the fire, and maybe releasing the fire too in its way. I'm going to pull out one more Hebrune for the center, asking how does that transformation show up? What is the best way for us to transform these things that we're releasing right now? Let's see which letter comes out for our means of transformation. How does it show up when it gets inside the wolf? And we have the letter He. And He is the letter that begins the word Hineni, meaning here I am, present and available for service. So showing up is our transformation. It's being present, remaining present as the wolf. Once we've devoured these principles that are no longer serving us, we just need to continue to show up and say, here I am available to the divine for whatever service you have available for me. I'm willing to transform. I am open to the holiness, to the sacredness, to the sacred task that you have for me, and open to that spark that's inside me, ready to move forward into the next thing. And let's find out what we'll get a Nordic rune also about the transformation, and then we'll use some more Nordic runes to find where we're moving into the future. So our Nordic rune about transformation is Algiz. Algiz is the elk. And that's wonderful because that's what the wolf eats, right? It's the elk or the moose or the caribou. And our transformation is about this elk. And Algiz means, in the Nordic runes, means protection. So finding protection is one of the ways that we're going to transform, is to protect ourselves and to protect those in our pack. We are working with that transformation happening within the wolf here. And the way we're going to do that is by protecting ourselves and our pack from whatever onslaughts are coming to us from the outside. It's a big way of transforming energy that's coming at us, protecting ourselves from the fires, protecting ourselves from the sun, protecting ourselves from that chaos that comes with the monkey mind, releasing those senses of overgiving and releasing that sense of burnout that comes from the fire by protecting our pack and taking care of our people, taking care of the ones in our family and our community at this time. And that will be a way of transformation continuing to show up. And let's see where that will take us into the future. We have Ingwaz. We have Manas. And we have Uruz. Okay. So Ingwaz is Ing's rune. Ing is the god of fertility. So it's planting a seed. Ing is the seed. So the way this will turn out once we've done our protection and our showing up is that we get to start active creation, to start to plant the seeds and fertilize whatever it is that we're creating next. We'll have the ability to do what we can with the resources at hand, because Ingwaz is here saying it's time to create next. After we've stopped the leakage that comes from overgiving and oversharing and the fires that are coming in, now we can plant. And, the ash from a fire will often fertilize the land in such a way that it's more receptive to seeds being planted. That brings us to Manas. Manas is this facing each other with joy. It looks like two vunyos coming together, facing each other with joy and finding our place in humanity, finding the place where we know our part in this big symphony, in the big song that's being sung by all of humanity. So after we've planted our seed, we're going to be able to find our place more readily in what are we supposed to be doing here? What is our job in the midst of all of this? And then we have Uruz. Uruz is the wild ox, the aurochs. So it's about strength, wild strength. And it can be about stubbornness too, but it's really about power, raw power that comes from just being that giant wild beast. So I think this is a beautiful reading here, coming together with this wolf from the spirit animal deck, that our job is to transform, right? So we're taking the thing that isn't serving us and transforming it into what is going to serve us. And what isn't serving us is overgiving, the monkey mind, and the idea that things are mundane and not sacred, and this fire that is burning us out. Maybe this is part of the transformation, but it also can feel really painful to be in the fire. So once we've transformed those by taking them into the wolf says, here I am. Now I'm in the process of digesting this and turning it into something more powerful. What is that? Protection. Protection against all these difficult things. Protection against the elements toward the pack. Protection of the family and friends. Providing support for those around us who need it. Showing up for that task. And then once we've done that, we come into a time of seed planting, creation, active creation. We find our place in humanity and know the note in the song that we are supposed to sing. And then we get this strength out of that. We get strength and power. Our entire pack is strengthened and empowered by this transformation that has taken place. So beautiful reading for those of you who chose this particular wolf, who is here looking out for its tribe, for its pack, and making sure that everyone is well. Thank you so much for following along. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please like and subscribe, and I'll look forward to seeing you here next time. Hello, card number 3, those of you who chose the Wildwood Tarot King of Stones Wolf. King of Stones in Tarot is the King of Pentacles. So it's about earth-based elements and, physical stuff, jobs and money and such. And this particular wolf, the King of Stones in this deck, he's howling at the moon. He's standing in the snow-covered peak here, howling up at the sky, as wolves are wont to do at that full moon, to communicate to the rest of the pack. Here I am. This is what's happening. The meaning of the King of Stones in this particular deck is that he's a ruthless tracker and hunter. He has a special symbolism for thousands of years and is the subject of many ancient stone carvings, comfortable in the dark and cold of winter. Wolf is seen as the guardian of the dead on their journey through the night to the other world. So this wolf is about loving the land and the natural world. So the King of Stones here in the form of the wolf from this deck is here to guide. And I love this with the idea of transformation, that he's guiding the dead through the underworld, and that includes those that are the prey animals from the wolf. So the transformations that occur even at the hand of the wolf are guided by nature and by the wolf itself as they walk through the world. And so we're going to pull out some Hebrunes today to find out what it is we are transforming. What is it what is not serving us, has been weak or ill in our life and is needing to transform. We're going to start by pulling out 3 Hebrunes today. And I've got 3. We have the letter Tet, the letter Bet, and the letter Aleph. Okay. So Tet is the letter that represents transformation. It is this number 9 in Gematria, and it's a vessel or a cup of some kind. But because it's the number 9, it's about gestation, transformation through gestation. And it also represents a snake or a coiling up in a basket. You can see it looks a little like a snake with the head there, and it's curling around with its tail. And the snake is a master of transformation, right? The ability to shed its skin and begin anew. So we have this letter that is saying it's time to let go of something, time to let go of the thing we've been gestating and holding on to let go of that vessel that we've been clinging to in order for it to transform, to let it shed its skin, to let whatever is good, whatever is tov inside that vessel come out. And I think of Tet as being affiliated with the Empress card in tarot. So that fecundity and that abundance is there for us if we can release it in the way that we've been kind of holding on to it and holding onto this cup so tightly that we're afraid to drink from it, maybe. And then it's time to release what's in the vessel and let go of that vessel so that we can have the contents of the vessel. And I think that's beautiful in terms of the wolf coming in to open that up and let it flow. The second letter in our reading here is the letter Bet. Bet is about home, and it's about house, a place where we dwell. And it is the binary transformation of life and death. And I love this with the regards to the King of Stones wolf, because he is this guardian that helps to usher the dead through the underworld. So life and death here being very much up, letting go of life, letting death come in some way, in some form of transformation, in order that we can find a place of comfort living in the world. I think of Bet as being representative of wherever we dwell, whether it's a home or whether it's just our bodies or whether it's the planet itself. The planet itself can be representative of Bet. So we're letting go of something, maybe our bodies, maybe something in our bodies that is not serving us. Maybe there's been an illness or a weakness that has been holding us back in our bodies. And Bet is also the letter that's affiliated with the day of Shabbat. So there's some kind of rest. Maybe we've been working so hard, working our bodies so hard, and we're exhausted, and it's time for us to take Shabbat, to take a time of rest, which is a metaphorical death. That when we sleep, it's like 1/60th of death in some ways. Bet is also affiliated with the mouth in the body. So it could be that something that's come out of our mouth, some words that have come out of our mouth that haven't been kind or have been harsh, are time to release those and let them go. Let them go and to transform. That we don't need to say those things anymore about ourselves. And we have the Bet being representative of the world, and tarot affiliated with the world card. So something about holding on to the world so tightly that maybe is holding us back. The world is a challenging place right now in a lot of ways. So releasing our hold on trying to control what's happening in the world might be of benefit right now as we're working with Wolf to let go of the things that are no longer serving us. Yeah, so for folks who have certainly lost their homes right now in the fires, that's definitely a thing that's happening, is releasing home. But it could be a metaphoric release as well. And then our final letter on the Hebrew here is the Aleph. Aleph is the mother letter of air. Air is representative of breath and the chest and the body. It is this letter, it's the first letter, of course, of the alphabet, and it represents the division and connection between above and below. So releasing the breath, taking time to really feel the sensation of the breath coming in and out of our body. Getting a chance to breathe out and relax and stop holding our breath as we may have been holding it. Aleph is sometimes seen as a crossroads or a balance even of above and below, of heaven and earth, of divinity and humanity. And so we have to release that division and embrace the connection between those two. Feeling the air in our chest, and I said exhaling and letting it out, maybe letting out a big howl like the wolf at the moon, and letting that breath go. It's the letter that I affiliate with the Temperance card in Tarot, which is, again, that finding that balance. And sometimes it's challenging to find a balance, but it's super important in this time where it's really easy to go into a fatalistic, difficult time and to choose death instead of choosing life. But, we are in this time where even if we do let go of the things that have felt most stable in our lives, the wolf is here to guide us in that transformation to whatever the next iteration is. I'm going to pull out another letter now to give us some idea about what the transformation will look like, because this is what we're releasing. But let's see what the transformation can look like. What is it we need to do or embrace in order to find that transformation of these elements as we step forward through this difficult time, in this full moon journey. And we have the letter Chet. Chet is the letter that begins the word Chai, meaning life, and Choshek, meaning darkness. So we're finding our transformation by staying alive through the darkness, is what I'm hearing. If we can find our way into a place of recognizing that we are in a dark place, that Choshek is here. It's the first time Chet shows up in Torah is in the word Choshek. So it's a very important word, darkness. Darkness is important because we can't see the light without it. But it's, again, the first letter of the word Chai, meaning life as well. So we're staying alive, that we are transforming in the darkness. That when we get into the belly of the wolf, it's dark in there. When we are in the belly of the womb, it's dark in there. But we know that life is existing, that the transformation of life is happening, that that which is weak and old and sick is being transformed into something that is life-giving and new and refreshing. So our job here, as we enter into the belly of the wolf at this full moon, is to embrace the darkness and to recognize that life is what comes from our transition through it. That as the wolf guides us and is our guardian through the underworld, as it were, even if it's a metaphoric underworld, that we'll find life within that, and it will transform in a way that we maybe don't expect, but it will bring us through the other side. And I love that Chet is also the number 8 in Gematria, so it has that infinity loop in it, so it's got this transformation aspect to the infinite, that even though things die, they come back and live again in a different way, that there is no ending that doesn't begin a new thing, that we have this infinite idea of the divine themselves within the Chet, that 7 days of creation is the end of creation, and then we have the 8th day, which is the next day, the first day of the rest of eternity. So, so I think that Chet is a beautiful letter for trying to get us through this transformation of releasing those things that we hold so dear, our homes, our breath, our gestation, our ideas. But we have to transform in order to move on into what is coming next. And we're going to pull out a Nordic rune also about transformation. And then we're going to pull out some more Nordic runes about what's coming after the transition. So our transformation letter is the Hagalaz. Very nice. Hagalaz is the rune that I affiliate with the Het. It's the hailstorm. So it is about chaos and natural forces that have come together to cause chaos. So Hagalaz is here saying our transformation is going to look a little chaotic. It's going to look challenging. It's going to be a storm that comes through. And it could be a very dark storm. But it also allows us to become who we really are. That we get broken down into our most basic elements, and we come out the other side more authentically ourselves, because we have this wildness now that has been released from that gestation. That cup has been spilled, and now we get to see what the contents are. And it's a little, it can be a little terrifying, but it also is really exciting, because now we get to find out what was in that cup. What is really who we are? What are we really made up of? And I love that we've got both of those letters here in the transition place on our reading. Well, let's pull out 3 more Nordic runes to go on the side of what is coming next. And we'll start at the top. We have Sowilo. No, that's Iwas. Degaz. And Sowilo. So we have both. Okay, so you can see how they're similar looking letters. So at the top, we have Awaz. And Awaz is the letter that means endurance. So what's coming next is the necessity to endure. That we have a journey ahead of us. That we've come through this dark place, but we'll be enduring on the other side. This is the rune that corresponds to the yew tree, which is a very slow growth, step-by-step, long-lasting tree. It's the world tree, the one that lasts forever and grows and stays and remains solid. So as we are coming out the other side of this storm, of the darkness, we get to step into a place of endurance. Something is lasting and holding on and taking us through to the next step. And Degaz, which is the breaking of the day, it's the dawn. It's full and total illumination. So we come out from the darkness and we come right into the light. We come into this brightness after the storm. We get to find all of broad daylight illuminating everything, and we'll be able to see, once we are in this place of illumination, what to do next, what is coming next. And the sun as well. We've got Sowilo, so we've got the sun as well. Sunshine, brightness, source energy, the divine, or however you perceive your source energy coming in. And this is a beautiful transformation. It seems, again, really frightening to come from a place of spilling our cups, emptying them out to see what's inside, allowing that gestation to come to an end, the transformation of the shedding of the skin, the home being turned inside out, that stepping out of our comfort zone out of our bodies, maybe letting go of the thing that's been harming us in our physical manifestations, maybe letting go of our actual home, moving to a new place, maybe letting go of our expectations of the world. And breath, exhaling, letting go of holding our breath, letting go of that division that happens between heaven and earth, but just embracing the balance between the two, embracing the unity of the oneness of the divine. And that brings us into this transition zone of darkness and the hailstorm, the chaos, but also life, again, through darkness, through that gestation, through the womb space is darkness and life. And it's chaotic, but it's natural. And so when we come through, we are more of our authentic selves, more of our wild selves. And when that happens, we have the yew tree saying that we will endure. We will be able to endure once we've come through this situation, that we'll be able to see with the breaking of the day Degaz, the dawn, illuminating everything around us after we've come through the darkness, and the sun, our source energy, supporting us to be here and to hold us steady on the other side of the full moon. So it's challenging times for sure. This darkness and that hailstorm are really, really hard. And letting go of the things that are so familiar, home, breath, and our womb space. Really, really hard work. But when we do, the rewards are very great. The endurance, the sun, and the daylight illuminating everything. So I think it's a beautiful reading for those of you who chose King of Stones, Wolf from the Wildwood Tarot. Hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please like and subscribe. And I will look forward to seeing you here next time. Hello, card number 4. Those of you who chose the White Light Oracle card, Beta of Spirit Wolf, card number 23, which is a kind of magical number in my family. And we have the white wolf here with the blue eyes. I'm going to read a little bit about it from the book. It says, Beta of Spirit Wolf, give yourself enough rest. Only then will you be able to ground yourself enough to cultivate focus and motivation to fulfill your path. You will find a way through any tricky situation as you tune into your instincts and trust your own timing. From times of change and uncertainty comes confidence, love, and resilience. Embrace transition, commit to your tasks, and stay focused, but be flexible in your approach. You have the skill to intuitively handle any issue. So the Beta of Spirit Wolf is about guiding us through these transitions. And of course, as I said earlier, the wolf is the one that devours that which is weak or ill in our lives and transforms it. And the idea of the beta is this mind wave. The beta waves in the brain are those which are alert without being anxious. So you need to have enough rest to stay alert so that you have heightened awareness without getting anxious and jumpy. And so you have this idea of keeping this stimulation and arousal without getting too crazy, too squirrely. And the wolf here is here to help us to find our way to the other side. So let's find out what it is that we are transforming, first of all. We're going to start out by pulling out 3 Hebrunes and laying them down on the right side, which will help us to know what it is we're transforming right now. What is it that needs to be transformed in our life, that it may be a little ill or a little weak or a little old, that we don't need it anymore. And we'll start out with those 3 Hebrunes. 3 in my hand. We have the Kuf. We have the Chet, and we have the Hey. Interesting. So these 3 letters are what are transitioning for us, needing transformation. And the Kuf is the letter that represents the word kadosh, meaning sacredness. And we have to transform something to make it sacred. And we have the Kuf also representing the word kof, meaning monkey. So maybe we have a little bit of a chaotic thought process going on right now. You can see it looks a little bit like a monkey with its tail hanging down here. And so it sometimes represents our animalistic nature, our desire to hold on to those things which just bring us pleasure and not really concentrating on our connection with divinity. Now, animals are inherently sacred because they don't have the same, thought processes that we do that have to do with guilt, or they work on instinct. And I don't think it's that we're letting go of our instinct so much, but are letting go of our judgment about our animal nature. Sometimes we're driven to do something, and we shame ourselves about being animalistic. We say, "Oh no, that's just a really base idea." But I think our instincts and our drives are really wise in some ways, and the wolf is here to say we can trust our instincts. So one of the things we're releasing is this idea that anything isn't inherently holy, that we have this inherent holiness that exists, and anything can be transformed into a place of kadosh. So in some ways we're doing this transformation, and I affiliate the kuf with the magician card in tarot. So again, having all the tools that we need in order to transform the things that we have and the things that we think and our ideas and our actions. So anything can be holy if you go at it with the intention of holiness. And it doesn't really matter what it is. I mean, again, the wolf is a predator and it kills animals for food and transforms those animals into its own body. Is killing wrong? I mean, some would say, but this is how the wolf lives its life. So it does it from a place of holiness because that is its nature. And we need to find out what our nature is that also has the ability to have holiness, that there is an evil intent. If we can find a way to dedicate what we are doing to service for the divine, it also can become sacred, whatever it might be. So that's something to release, is this idea of the mundane or the animalistic nature being inherently bad. There's my random chime saying, yes, that is one of the things we're releasing. Next we have the letter chet. And chet is the letter that means chai, meaning life, and also choshek, meaning darkness. So we have contracts and covenants that are wrapped up here. And maybe that's part of it. Maybe we're releasing contracts and covenants. This looks a little bit like a marriage canopy, a chuppah. So maybe there's some kind of relationship contract that we've made. And that's not to say that we need to walk away from that relationship, although maybe that's the case for you. You'll be the only person who can know that. But maybe the idea of the contract itself has been outdated or it's outlived, that we're relying on old information. And it's time to update our contracts so that we're using them in a way that is sacred, that brings us back to that kadosh, that we have to release the darkness in the choshek and embrace life, chai, in its way, but the transformation that happens is often through darkness. Chet is the letter that corresponds to the number 8 in Gematria, so it's about the infinite. And there may be something here that we're releasing that is about a belief that this is going to last forever. The way things are is never going to change. There's this infinity idea that we are stuck here. This is how it's always going to go. That this contract is forever. That the way we set things up can't be changed. And we got to let that go. That's one of the transformations that needs to happen. That there isn't anything that lasts forever. Everything except for the infinite themselves. So how can we transform through the darkness and let go of this idea that the way things are is the way things will always be? Because change is actually the only constant here. So we're transforming our idea of infinity and our idea of these contracts that need to last forever. And then we have the letter He. And the letter He is the letter that stands for the word Hineni, here I am, available and ready for service. It's affiliated with the sense of sight. And maybe what we're releasing here is the idea that we can see things, and maybe we're not seeing clearly. The number 5 in Gematria, so it has to do with the 5 fingers on the hand and the 5 levels of the soul. I think of He as being presence, about, again, showing up with Hineni, here I am, but also being kind of pensive, like hanging, like it's affiliated with the Hanged Man in my booklet about the Hanged Man in tarot, which is about seeing things from a different perspective, but also kind of being hung up, right? Being ideally it's about patience and surrender, but maybe we're just stuck. We're present, but we're we're not ready to move forward, not willing to move forward. So there may be something about being hanging out in a way that we're not available for moving forward. And I think these are the transition points. Is you've got the Kuf saying, let go of this idea of our instincts being bad, let go of the idea of our contracts and commitments lasting forever, and let go of this idea of just hanging around and waiting for something to happen. That we have to do something. We have to have some action in the world. And we do have to show up, and we do have to see our way forward, but we also need to not get stuck there, because it's very easy to get stuck there saying, well, I'm just waiting for a sign, I'm just waiting for a message, and not being able to see the signs, not being able to see the holiness, not being able to see life coming through. So those are the things we're releasing. Those are the things that the spirit wolf is going to eat up and transform. And we're going to pull out another Hebrew that will help us to understand how that transformation is going to look and maybe what our part in it is. And we have the letter Aleph. Aleph, which is the first letter of the alphabet, and it is the mother letter of air. So it's about air and breath. And so one of the ways we're going to transform ourselves is by breathing into it, by trusting in the oneness of the divine, the unity of divinity, and the multiplicity of divinity. So recognizing that the divine shows up in myriad ways, that we are made up of divinity, that breath that has been breathed into us is the thing that will transform us, that we have the spirit wolf who is breathing, like huffing and puffing and blowing our house down perhaps, but breathing, feeling the life force coming into our bodies, feeling the wind in the air, crossing over on the crossroads here in this Aleph to the next place, knowing which way to turn, really trusting in this connection and division between heaven and earth. That we have heaven above and earth below, and this connection between that comes from the breath, that comes from the air and the wind, knowing that the air is what keeps us alive here on this planet, this very thin atmosphere that is coming together. And Aleph is that number one, the beginning, the balance of above and below. So that's one of the transformations that's happening, is the wolf is going to breathe and breathe life into things, to breathe holiness and sacredness, and to breathe presence into, in order to transform these three ideas. We're going to pull out a Nordic rune also about transformation, and then we'll pull out some more Nordic runes about the future. What comes next after this full moon time. So our transition letter is the Uruz, which is the wild ox, about strength and power. And so the Uruz, the wild ox, is here in its transition place to say, we are trying to find our way in strength and not muscle our way necessarily, but to tap into the wildness, to tap into that part of ourselves that has the power and the wildness in it, the strength of the wild ox to move forward. And we're transforming these things. Again, that animalistic nature and that idea of darkness and life, and that idea of just hanging out and waiting for something to happen. Tap into our inner strength. Tap into our power, our own power, in order to breathe into the breath and move forward through the full moon to transition and to transform these ideas. And we're going to come out on the other side of the full moon with three more runes here. Here they are. We have Ingwaz, we have Nauthies, and we have Lagus. Ingwaz is Ing's rune. Ing is the fertility god, Frey or Freya. And it's about planting a seed. So once we've done that transition, once we've found our strength, we can plant new seeds and create. This is the creation rune. So planting a seed and using what we have to create what we can after we've transformed all of this with the breath, with the strength. I dropped one here on the table. We'll take that one too at the end. But we have Ingwaz, the seed that is coming through to plant into the ground. We have Nauthies, which is about need, tending to our needs and making sure that what we need gets done. In reverse, sometimes it means drop everything and tend your needs. So make sure that what you need to get done is getting done. Make sure that whatever it is you need is being fulfilled, because that's going to be really important once we get through this transition time. And Lagus, which is about flow. It's the lake, and it's about emotion and really feeling feelings. So we might have some tears and we might have some joy, but whatever it is, we're following the flow of things once we've come through the full moon to the other side. We're planting our seeds, tending our needs, and feeling our feelings. Really beautiful. And then what was this one that fell on the table? Gebo. So we have Gebo, which is about an exchange or a gift. And it can be about a relationship. We're exchanging one thing for another. We're making contracts and commitments. After we've let go of these contracts over here, now we've got a chance to make new ones. We get to update our contracts and our commitments. I'll put this right here on his forehead. We got an extra rune in this reading. So, for those of you who chose the beta of Spirit Wolf, the things we're releasing are this idea that our instincts are bad, this idea that our contracts and commitments have to last forever the way they are, that they can't be transmuted, that life in some way is just a burden, that we've got presents showing up, but we're just lying here waiting for something to happen. And the wolf comes along and breathes air into all of this and devours all of these things and transforms them through strength. That we have strength to do that. And when we come out the other side, we're planting seeds, tending our needs, feeling our feelings, and making new contracts, new commitments, new exchanges, receiving a gift through that. So I think it's a beautiful reading. I appreciate you coming along for the journey. I hope you have a beautiful full moon. And then I will see you here next time.